Hi, welcome to the Fastball Profits. My name is Rob Skudovic. Thank you for joining me today. Normally we'd be joined by Christian Skudovic, but he's going to sit this one out. Now, the video that I'm going to bring you guys today, we're going to talk about deep sleepers. That guy that maybe nobody has on the radar, the guy that nobody saw coming and has that breakout year. And every year, the NFL has a couple of players like that. And isn't it great to be that one guy who has that one player that nobody thought of, that great steal, maybe late round pick, somebody that you only had to spend a few bucks on in your auction league. But here's the key to finding good sleepers. There's a lot to it, but one of the things I would say is have multiple sleepers on your bench. Even the best prognosticators, if they're lucky, they hit around 35% on their success rate. Don't let anybody fool you. If they tell you they're always 100% right on their sleepers, they're lying to you. Okay, so if you're hitting at 35%, you're doing pretty good. With that said, you need multiple sleepers on your bench to make sure that you nail a few. And so I would tell you to once again keep a few spots open on your bench for a few of these sleepers. Now, here's the other thing I'm gonna look at. I'm calling them deep sleepers, and here's why. You don't need me to state the obvious, okay? I'm not gonna sit here and tell you that Christian McCaffrey is a sleeper because he's not. Okay, and Dalvin Cook is not a sleeper. Now, these guys are rookies. They have potential. They're not proven. But these guys are not sleepers. So you don't need me to state the obvious to you guys. And these are some guys that you're going to have to really watch their progress and be patient with, okay? Maybe stash on your bench and wait. And these are the type of players that are going to probably have more value in, let's say, a keeper league or a dynasty league, or maybe if you're in deeper leagues. Now, when I say value, if you're in a standard draft league where your team size is about 12 to 16 teams, these are guys that are going to have some value to you. But if you're in a league size that's maybe 10, 8, or 6 teams, these guys probably aren't going to start for you. And so once again, those are a few things to consider. Now, there's a lot of guys out there right now that are on my radar, guys I'm kind of keeping an eye on. The back of my mind, I'm watching their progress. But the first one I want to share with you, the first deep sleeper is Cooper Kupp. I love this guy. I love what he's doing in the preseason. I love the situation. I'm kind of enamored by the guy. Now, one thing that I like about him right now, it looks like, now we don't know yet, season hasn't started, but it would appear that Watkins will be the number one guy and Kupp's going to be the number two guy, with Tavon Austin being lined up in the slot or sometimes in the backfield as a gadget player. They're going to get Austin some touches, but it won't always be at wide out. Now, this guy has looked great in the preseason. Right now, the first game, he had 2 catches, 35 yards. He had 6 catches for 71. Then he sat out his third game with injury, but it was not necessary from the play. I think the coaches have seen everything they need to see from this guy, so why play him? I want to share some of the things that make him why I think he's a deep sleeper. One, the coach's praise is huge right now. In fact, it says right this. Coach McVay said that the way he sees the field, okay, he's one of the more mature rookies that we've seen that comes out of the draft, entering the league, okay, and so the coach loves this guy. He loved leading up to it. In fact, it goes on to say that when he showed up at rookie camp, whether it's organized team activities or mini camp, he just continued to impress coaching staff. He was always prepared, ready. He works hard. He does a lot. And right now on the unofficial depth chart, it looks like he's going to be a starter for them. Now, this is a guy that maybe some of you haven't heard of, but he actually played for Eastern Washington, and he broke Jerry Rice's career receiving yardage total of 4,693. He beat that. So this guy had a good college career. He's doing great in the preseason. The coaches are praising him, and he's in a great situation right now with Watkins being the number one guy, him being the number two guy. I love Cooper Kupp as somebody that you should keep an eye on as a deep, deep sleeper once again. Cooper Kupp, love this guy. Here's my next guy that I think you should keep an eye on that could be very helpful to you in your league this year. Kendall Wright. Now, this is not a sexy pick. This is not an exciting pick, okay? But oftentimes, slow and steady wins the race. Now, everybody wants to get that young stud out there, but sometimes just that veteran that's going to get on the field and get you playing time is going to be the guy that's going to push you over the edge. And so here's a guy that I think has huge value. One, he has great opportunity. So right now you got Meredith that's going to be out for the year, okay? Now, once again, I know we're not excited for this guy. You got Glennon at quarterback. But once again, with Meredith out, okay, it looks like he could be that veteran guy that could plug in and do that. And what's going to happen here is I think he's going to have a lot of garbage time stats. Okay. Now, I don't know about you, but I look at Chicago. They're a team that's rebuilding. They're not great. And so what I see is a lot of games where they're going to be playing from behind. We're going to have to throw the ball late in games. A lot of garbage time stats as we talk about. Very similar to what we saw 2 years ago in Jacksonville with Blake Bortles and Allen Robinson. They put up great numbers. Robinson over 1,600 yards. Blake Bortles had over 30 touchdown passes. If you really look at it, if you break down film, Blake Bortles was not a good quarterback, and we're seeing that now he's beginning to struggle. But he had a good year, And he put a lot of those numbers up late in games where teams were in the prevent defense, so they're chucking the ball downfield. And so once again, this is a guy that's going to get a lot of garbage time stats. Now, if you look at the roster, a lot of people are saying, okay, Meredith is out, Jeffries has left free agency, and so now it's Kevin White's team to really step up. It's Kevin White's time to really arrive and show why they drafted him. Well, one, Kevin White in 2 years had 19 catches, 187 yards, and no TDs. He's still unproven, even if he is healthy. Once again, Kevin White, maybe he's going to become a great receiver, but at this point, I haven't seen anything that allows me to put my trust in him. The other thing we have to consider is where Kendall Wright's kind of falling on the depth chart right now, and it looks like Victor Cruz, who's hasn't done that great. In fact, right now he's been running with a 13-team offense. Rumors are he's going to get cut, and so that really leaves the really own veteran, the really own trusted wide receiver is Kendall Wright. And let's not forget, a couple years ago in 2013, he had 94 yards, 1,079 yards. I'm sorry, he had 94 catches, 1,079 yards. So this is a guy that's proven that when he plays, he can be productive. He's a guy that's not pretty, he's not exciting, but he's definitely a guy that you could put and use on your team. Once again, he's got a great opportunity there. Somebody's got to catch the ball in Chicago. Garbage time stats, he's a proven vet. And the other thing is, so far he's shown good rapport with their quarterback, Clement. So once again, here's a guy that you could keep an eye on. You could put on your bench. You could use Kendall Wright, wide receiver, Chicago Bears. He's another guy, what I would call a deep sleeper. On to my next guy. So Kenny Galladay. And so here's a guy that I really got my eye on here, and he's a wide receiver for the Detroit Lions. What do I like about this guy? One, he's got great size. At 6'4", this guy is huge. Now he's a little bit undersized in terms of like a weight, but they're saying he's got the frame that he can put muscle and he can put size on there. But at 6'4", this guy is huge. He's a huge target. Why do I like him? Well, besides his size, one of the things that I like is usually big targets. See a lot of red zone targets. Okay, and so Bolden has left Detroit, and so that's going to leave basically 8 touchdowns that were left. There's got to go to somebody. I think a lot of those stats will go to a guy like him. Once again, he got great size. In the first preseason game, he shined. He had 53 yards. He had 2 TDs, so he looked good. He's also been running at times with the first-team offense. They've allowed him to run a little bit, get some looks. And here's another reason why I think this guy's what I call a deep sleeper, somebody you could keep your eye on in the future, is that this is a guy that really has an opportunity with Tate and Marvin Jones there. One, Tate and Jones, they're not young. And they're not great, quite honestly. If I want to be honest today, Tate and Marvin Jones are not great receivers. They're good quality receivers who have benefited from good situations, but once again, they're not great. That gives an opportunity for a guy like Kenny, if he can come in and show, build on some of this potential that he has. I think he's a guy that could be a great sleeper for you, a deep sleeper as we call. Let's move on to my next guy that I've really been kind of keeping an eye on. I think you should too. And that's Jared Goff. Now, Jared struggled last year. There's no way to get around that. This guy had a brutal rookie year. He struggled greatly, okay? But I think it's important to put it in its context. Yeah, he struggled, but then the whole Rams organization last year struggled. The offense was a mess, top to bottom. There's a reason why they made a coaching change. So once again, he wasn't in a great situation, okay? But I think the problem with a guy like him and why people may not take notice to him is we live in a culture today where people are impatient. We want instant success, and that even translates to fantasy football. If a guy doesn't come in and immediately have a knockout year, won Rookie of the Year, put up 25, 30 TDs, and then right away we lose interest in that pick, okay? But we have to remember there was a time in the NFL where the idea was quarterbacks never played when they were rookies, and usually it was 2 to 4 years the maturation process it took for them to be a productive quarterback. Now that's changed a little bit. We kind of expect QBs to come in, to be able to start, play, be productive once again. But I think that's an anomaly. This one position of quarterback, it takes a while to transition to understand the complexities of the game, especially in the situation he was in. Right now, Coach McVay loves this guy's progress. He's talking about all the progress he's made. We even see it statistically. This guy is starting to do some really neat things there, and he's trending the right direction. Now you add on to one more thing that I really like about this guy is I think they put solid weapons around him. They've got Watkins, which is the #1 guy legit, if he can stay healthy. You had Cooper Kupp, Austin, and Todd Gurley has decent hands, so they surrounded him with some good weapons. So he's a guy that I probably wouldn't draft this year. Maybe I'd consider using on a bye week, but he's definitely somebody I would watch his progress And at the end of this year, take a look at maybe he's a guy that you put on your bench if you're in a keeper league for next season. Once again, keep an eye on Jared Goff. He's a guy that could be a deep sleeper right now. On to another guy. And by the way, I love this guy, Rex Burkhead. This guy really got my attention last year for Cincinnati. He got to start a couple games because of injuries. And up to this point, he was kind of a journeyman. Maybe he was on third downs, but that was really about it. But he took that starting role, and he looked great. Now, right now, there's a few things he has to overcome in New England. One is they brought in Gillislee with the idea he'd be the starting back. But here's what happened. Gillislee was injured. He missed a lot of training camp. He didn't get in the game. Now, Coach Belichick has said that Gillislee has a lot of ground to make up before he becomes the starting guy there. Last year, once again, he shined playing for Cincinnati. What I think makes this guy valuable, the reason why I think Bill Belichick likes this guy is he has 3-down ability. He can run the ball effectively. He's great in the pass, and so that's great for their offensive to have that versatility. Now, last year when Blunt was in the game, he's not going to catch the ball in the backfield. Okay, that's just not a part of who he is. It's not what he brings to the table. But Rex can do all that. He can run the ball. He can catch the ball. So he's kind of that dual threat, and he's shown he's got great hands. In fact, of all the backs that have great hands, they got some guys like White, Lewis, and Bolden, guys that they bring in, they use to catch the ball. Right now, Rex really is the best pure runner of those 4 guys. So once again, I think he's great. Bill Belichick loves this guy. He's been using him. They've been praising him. I think when it's all said and done this year, Rex is going to win that job and become their go-to guy. Keep an eye on Rex Burkhead. In fact, I would say right now, he's a guy that I would definitely draft. I would put on my team. I would pick up. And it might take a week or two before he's in that starting role. But you definitely got to keep this guy on your radar. Once again, Rex Burkhead. My next deep sleeper I would go with is Chris Carson, running back of Seattle. And right now he's having a great preseason. That's the thing that you watch preseason. Now, we don't want to overvalue it. It is preseason, but you don't want to ignore it either. Years ago, in my first year of fantasy football, there was a second-year wideout that everybody ignored. His first year he didn't do well, but I noticed in preseason that he was tearing it up. And so it really got on my radar. So I drafted him. He was my last pick in the draft. I put him on my bench, and he went out to have a phenomenal season. He went on to be a Hall of Fame wide receiver, and that's Isaac Bruce. So once again, it is preseason. Don't overvalue it, but don't undervalue it. So right now he's having a great preseason. And here's some of his numbers. Now, his first preseason game wasn't great. 7 carries for 19 yards. Not good at all. But he followed up with 6 for 27. And in the last game, where he ran a lot with the first-team offense, he had 8 carries for 46 yards. Every game he's gotten stronger. He's adjusting well to the game. His yards per carry went from 2.7 to 4.5 to 5.8. But not only can he run the ball, is he running the ball well for him, but he can catch the ball well. He's had 2 catches for 44 yards in one game. He's had 1 catch for 17 yards, and he's had 2 TDs in the preseason. So he's shown that he can run the ball well, he can catch the ball well in the backfield. Right now, he's definitely on my radar, and I think he's starting to become on their coach's radar also. In fact, before the draft, coach there loved him. In fact, he talked about how he really got his attention. In fact, right now he's running with the first-team offense. He's been splitting time with Eddie Lacy, and he's leading the Seahawks with 94 rushing yards in the preseason. Once again, he's also got 4 passes. And this is what Russell Wilson said about him. He says, he always seems to do the right thing. And it goes on to say that for a rookie, I mean, he's really been remarkable. I think he's going to have a remarkable year as well. This is by Russell Wilson. So this guy who works right by him, alongside him, one of his peers, who's been in the league a few years and been very successful, looks at this guy and says, hey, this guy is looking great so far. Now, some people will look at his college career and wonder why his numbers weren't great. But his college career, he was hampered in 2015 and 2016. He had a broken thumb. He had the ACL problem. And so those things kind of hindered his college career. Okay. Once again, though, this guy's got a lot of potential. And if you look at who he's got to leapfrog as far as Lacy and Rawls, none of those guys have locked down that position. None of those guys have been proven themselves to be consistent. So right now, Chris Carson is a guy that I would definitely keep an eye on as far as a deep sleeper go. Another guy that I'm looking at as far as a deep sleeper, another running back, is Corey Clement, running back for Philadelphia. Now, the last 2 preseason games, he's done really well. 9 carries, 42 yards, 1 TD. 8 carries for 34 yards, 1 TD. And he's also caught the ball well. The thing that I like about him, he's more versatile than Blunt. Now, I think right now this is Blunt's team. Blunt's going to be the go-to guy. But once again, Blunt, we know that he's a plow. He's physical. He pounds the ball. He's great. But Blunt's not versatile. He can't be used in the passing game. And here's the other thing, and why Corey is a deep sleeper, is Blunt sits at, he's 30 years old. As we know in running back years, 30 years old is pretty much the end of your career. The other guys right now, Sproles on the team is kind of your third down back, change of pace runner, but Sproles is even older than Blunt. So once again, I think that Corey Clement's got a bright future there. The other thing that's good about this guy, he's got great size, a 5'10", 220, so he can be a physical back. The other guys he's competing with, Smallwood, hasn't been impressive, and Donnell Pumphrey has really struggled to run the ball in the preseason. So Corey Clement is a guy that I think could make the team, and as the year goes on, could get more carries, could eventually move into that role. He's a deep sleeper, somebody to keep on your radar. I wouldn't probably draft him right now unless you're in a really, really deep league. What I would do is I would watch him the first few weeks and see how he's doing. Now I'm going to get on to my final sleeper, a guy that I think you need to keep an eye on, a guy that I love, that I think is going to have an amazing career. Patrick Mahomes, quarterback at Kansas City. He was drafted in the first round. This kid is amazing. He's doing it all. He is the real deal. He's poised, athletic. He has a strong arm. He reminds me of Dak or Russell Wilson or Dak Prescott, that type of thing. He's physical, he's athletic, but he's got a great arm. He sees the game well. If there's a drawback for him, it's that he's got Alex Smith in front of him. He might be a year away for that reason. But once again, he's a guy that I would definitely keep an eye on. I would watch him at the end of this year. He might be a guy you'd want to stash on your bench who could become your starting quarterback next season if you're in a dynasty or keeper league. Once again, this guy looks great. He's been phenomenal. He's succeeding. Once again, keep this guy on your radar, Patrick Mahomes. This guy is the real deal. He's going to be an all-pro quarterback in the near future here. Once again, those are some deep sleepers, guys. I would keep an eye on. I would stash, maybe put on your bench for later on. Once again, if you have any questions, thoughts, or concerns, email us, subscribe. Check us out on fantasyfootballprofits.com. That's profits with an S. We hope to see you again. God bless and take care.
With you about Kareem before we finish up here. It makes such a big difference on that offense being able to play the pass. That offense passes the ball every year, top 10, maybe even top 5 for most passing attempts among all the other NFL teams. And so his ability to play the pass makes a bigger difference than it might on other teams that prefer to kind of run the ball first. So, yeah, that's just another thing to remember. That's going to make a big difference in that system, and they kind of need that guy to play out of the backfield. But as always, we thank you guys so much for watching. We really appreciate your continued support. Rob, do you have anything to say before we take off?
Well, maybe we should add in there. We're running a little contest out here, and if you want a free NFL jersey, you can go to our site. You can go to our video channel, and all you have to do is either subscribe or get somebody to subscribe. And every time you do that or somebody does that, your name gets entered in to win an NFL jersey. So once again, check us out, get the word out there. Appreciate you guys coming to it. We're getting excited. Football season's right around the corner.